Greetings, travelers, and welcome to episode 60 of WesterosCraft Walks with your noble host, Dutchguard. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the lands of House Wythers in the picturesque beauty of the Reach, which you can see around me here. We don't actually know what the name of the castle is that House Wythers sits upon, but we know that there is a House Wythers, and we know that it's in the Reach, so that's where we are. And I think we've done a pretty good job of capturing the spirit of the Reach here, just based on this view we have of the beautiful fields and rolling hills of the Reach, along with this little brook. That little brook, actually, defines the border between the lands of House Ball, which are just past that brook in the distance there. You could even see a little hamlet of House Ball there. And to my right, on the southern side of this tower, we have the start of the lands of House Wythers. House Wythers was built by one of our very best, SMP, who's one of our moderators on the server. It's a recently completed build, completed I think a month or two ago. And it's a wonderful build, so I can't wait to get started. We've started here on this little watchtower, guarding the border of Wythers, though I'm sure it's not been used for military purposes for a while. The neighbors in the Reach tend to be quite neighborly, and they don't really fight with each other too much, instead prefer to invite each other over for a glass of wine or a game of Savas every now and then. So we've got this watchtower here, which for the moment is all it's good for, is for getting a nice view out onto the beautiful fields and landscape of the Reach. So let's head down and we'll get into the first town in the lands of the Wythers, which is creatively titled Witherton. It's just over in the distance there, so let's get out of here and hop on over to this main road, over this low-profile hedgerow, which I quite like. I don't really see many of those, or any of those. It might be the first one I've seen, but it's quite nice. So that's the tower there, made of that beautiful pinkish Reach stone texture that we've created custom just for this region, and we'll see more of that in the town. We'll see some of that Reach terrain set as well. You can see in that rock there the sort of light pale marble kind of colors that we get there, unique to the Reach, again in the spirit of trying to make each region very individual in color and texture, just to make sure that, say for example, you're thrown into some region, you could kind of work out, not by looking at a map or reading any signs, but by looking at the colors and the textures and the materials that are used in the landscape and the buildings, like we see here. So this is the entrance to Witherton. You can see on the road here we've got these planks of different colors, and that might look a bit off, but really what it is when it rains or when there's a storm and the roads get really muddy, the carts and the wagons traveling through the town, they don't get any traction, so they put these planks down so that they can actually travel through the town unhindered by the weather, and I think it actually creates quite a nice effect. It's very cool. You don't see that in every town, but here's a good example of that being used. This looks sort of like the central park of Witherton. We've got a nice little central tree, as well as this looks like it must be a little butcher's stand here, with something being ready to cut, maybe a pig or a hog or something like that. We've got a little kitchen in here. Looks like we've got as well a little butcher's, I guess, chopping room. I don't know what you want to call that. And yeah, it's just it's even got could be kennels or stables back here. Very nice. This town, I did do a little bit of scouting beforehand, and it's got all the amenities that every town should have. I think on the other side of this little park here, we're going to find some pretty big stables. You can see them between those two buildings there. And stables is something that I think we just don't see enough of. Maybe it's because of the scale we build on, but in big towns, sometimes you only get maybe one or two stables with a few pens each. But here we've got a nice big stable. It looks like it's got at least 10 pens for a bunch of different horses for travelers who want to stay the night in this inn here. I think this is the inn where travelers can stay. So just going in here. Oh, actually, I was wrong. That's a blacksmith's. But there must be an inn around here somewhere for all of those horses. Or maybe the travelers bring their horses here and they can get their horses rehoofed by the blacksmith, which is kind of cool as well. So yeah, moving. Oh, here's the inn. So here's a pretty big inn. You can see it's got this covered bridge attaching, I think, must be two parts of the inn here. Very cool. Looks like we've got some more indoor stables here. Again, very cool. Lots of stables. You can't ever have enough of those. I encourage any of you builders watching this, make big stables, make them huge, you know, make them simple. There's no need to make them fancy or small. Just go crazy. If you've got the space, might as well. So yeah, we're here in the kitchens of the inn, I believe. And, oh, actually, I think out here there was a little beer garden that I wanted to check out. It's not over here. Oh, I did see it earlier. Oh, here it is, if we just go around this back path. And, yeah, I don't know how safe that beehive is right next to where these people might be enjoying a fine ale. But, yeah, it's pretty. We've got these beautiful trees which have all been placed by hand. Not built by hand, placed. Just want to clarify, we have a tool that builds the tree for us, though we do have to place them by hand and choose which trees we want where. So it's still a testament to, you know, the kind of patience we put into our builds. We don't have the patience, though, to plant every single tree in an area the size of Los Angeles, so we decided to kind of cheat and create a custom tool, which is really nifty, and it's something you can definitely witness if you come to visit us on the server. Be happy to give you a little tutorial or an example, a demonstration, if you will, myself. But yeah, actually, let's get up in this inn. Get all up in this inn and show you some of the furnishings. As I said, it is kind of a newer build. Oh, I haven't seen this before. Looks like the scene of a little tussle here in the inn. Maybe someone unhappy with their food or with the bill. I'm not paying a golden dragon for that pile of crap you served me. And you can see this table flipped over and these chairs strewn about, plates on the floor. But, you know, that's all about creating that immersion, creating the different stories that we can tell in our buildings. That's definitely a good example of that. So definitely credit to, may not have been SMP that built this particular building, but whoever did build this building, excellent job. And that's worth noting too, you know, when someone takes on a project, they don't build everything. What they do is they create sort of mini projects for around the main build, or in each individual area, like this town, they'll create plots. Which are sort of the basic outlines of the foundation of the building. They'll leave a little sign there to say, hey, I want this to be an inn or a blacksmith or a grocer or whatever. And then someone can come along and say, hey, I'd like to build this. So they put their name above it and they start to build it. That needs to get approved, and it's all very bureaucratic, but it's all worth it because it ends up looking like this, which is just beautiful, and it's stuff that I just love to explore. Right, okay, I'm droning on now, so let's carry on. We're not even actually by the main castle of the Wythers yet, so let's carry on walking along this main road there. We've got another lovely little wooden watchtower there. It's not a design you see all that often, but again, watchtowers are really important, even if there isn't a war going on, for, you know, thieves that might be coming down the highway, or even for hunters. You can use them as kind of an outlook for any, you know, prey that's coming along, or for the farmers to make sure that nobody's stealing from them or poaching their lands. So yeah, these little watchtowers, great little simple design, very cool. We've got this little brook running underneath this bridge. Love the use of the tall grass on the banks there. Very, very nice. These fields and stuff, I mean, this is a really cool field. I think this must be cotton. You can see loads and loads of it. I think this might be the first cotton field we see here on the server. Correct me if I'm wrong, whoever made this field. It looks like cotton. Obviously, we don't actually have a cotton texture, so we just have these white flowers, which do the job, and I think it looks really cool. Almost looks like a texture glitch, but it's so white and so beautiful. Really, really nice. Cool, so let's see what this house is. I'm actually quite curious. I didn't think I actually went in here when I scouted out the area before. Looks like it could be kind of just like a farmhouse or a, I don't know. Yeah, it must be like a mill, or might be a cider press for all these apple trees that are growing out here. This giant apple orchard. That could very well be an apple press, judging by the crates of apples we've got going on there. And I'm guessing under here in this first level we've got a big storage area. And yeah, just like I thought, that is a big, huge cider press. Very, very cool. This is one of those things that we do put a lot of research into, try to make it look as realistic as possible, create all the different stages of pressing. So I think this is kind of like the pulp of the apple that doesn't get used in the eventual cider making, which I guess they kind of use to feed pigs or whatever. And of course here we have the massive cider press, and they're pressed in kind of this massive canvas bag kind of thing, I think. And it all comes out here through this little tap. So yeah, that's very cool. Very cool to see along the way, the kind of things, you know, if you read about ales or ciders in Song of Ice and Fire, you know, they come from somewhere, so we decided to, you know, make sure that those places of industry actually exist somewhere. Right, so I'm hoping this road is the correct one. I'm seeing buildings over there, so I'm hoping it is. And we're just gonna take a lovely little stroll along this apple orchard, of course with our custom apple leaf blocks. Very, very nice. And yeah, lots of fields and farmlands as ever. I can see another watchtower just creeping over in the distance there. There's a few houses there. You know, I think I'm gonna go this way. I think it might be safer to go this way. Yeah, I'm seeing another watchtower over there, so that's probably the best way to go. But let's see, this looks like a little farmstead here. And I think we've got some pigsties. Yeah, that's definitely what that looks like. So very cool. Again, a different, you know, product, a different kind of livestock, if you will. And some more stables here, although they do look a bit smaller. Could again be pigsties. Not really sure about that one, but I can ask. So yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff going on in the lands of the Wythers. Ooh, let's see if I can take a shortcut. I'm seeing some big, sort of granary silos up ahead there, probably for all this wheat and barley that's growing in these fields, as well as these, I don't know, these could be anything really. They're a pea texture, but they could be anything. Right. Yeah, so it's kind of a standard mill silo design. Ooh, what are these? Strawberries, looks like. A little patch of strawberries. Very nice. And more fields, more forest out in the distance over there. So yeah, we do try and dot, you know, we sort of start with a blank canvas for the most part. So whenever we tackle an area, we really have to create, you know, if it's not been farmed, it's going to be wilderness, or if it's not a town, it's got to be, you know, a river or a mountain or something. So we've got to put something everywhere, even in the Reach, which is almost completely flat and mostly featureless. Got to put some forests in there, farms, whatever. You know, it is kind of the breadbasket of Westeros. Ooh, cool. I'm seeing a sept up ahead, and looks like the walls of the castle Wythers up ahead. So, looks like I almost went down the wrong road, but we found our way. Really cool, nice, wide road leading up to the castle. Really beautiful kind of image there, leading up to this beautiful, classic Reach-style castle. That beautiful white Reach stone, which I personally really love. So yeah, actually, before we go over that drawbridge, let's check out this little sept. Might be a private sept for the Lord of Wythers and his family, because it's kind of more upper class, and you can always tell because it's not falling apart. And it's got, you know, it's got nice interiors, it's clean, it's got nice crystal there, and of course all the statues of the Seven. And just a quick note, we always try to make seven-sided septs, and that's what they're supposed to be. You know, we're not always told that they have to be seven-sided, but we always try. And when they're this size, you know, they just can't be. They, you know, it doesn't work in Minecraft. But when you get to bigger sizes, you know, and the biggest being Baelor's in King's Landing, we, you know, did all the math, you know, worked it out, and we've got a giant seven-sided sept. It's like the third Baelor sept that we made, and I think we finally perfected it in this last run. King's Landing, as you know from my previous videos, is a huge work in progress, so I won't be doing a video on that anytime soon, but definitely go check it out. Ooh, I love this moat going around the castle here. Very classic, very French style. You know, that is kind of the big inspiration for the Reach. It's that classic French style of castle. You know, different other areas of Westeros, you know, being compared to different areas of Europe, and you know, other parts of the world. You know, there's a lot of African and Middle Eastern inspiration that goes into Dorne. There's a lot of Nordic inspiration that goes into the north, because keep in mind that Westeros is a continent. You know, it's a huge continent. It's the size of South America, so it's got the full range of climates and cultures, and it's a whole different mix of things. You know, it's kind of a melting pot of cultures, which is one of the things I love about Westeros. Right, so very cool. Exposed portcullis. It's not built into the gatehouse, which is actually quite interesting and unique. I quite like that. And in here we've got a beautiful, nice, wide open outer yard, as I would call it, which is great. We don't see too many of those, but really having it nice, wide, and open, and not having some, you know, giant statue right in the middle is great. You know, it's where all of the, you know, the people that live in the castle can gather. It's where the troops can can rally and march off to face an enemy. That's what outer yards are used for. It's supposed to be a wide open generic space that can be used for, you know, multiple purposes. So yeah, very nice to see that, and it's especially lovely to see that stone being used in the floor here. So the Withers are probably pretty well off. It seems like a pretty well maintained castle. That's got to be the Great Hall here. You know, it is a small castle, so it's going to be really easy to explore because I can kind of see where everything is. However, I did have a hard look for the rookery, and I just could not find it. So hopefully we will run across it, but, you know, fingers crossed and no promises. Looks like we've got a big granary down here under the Great Hall, and some kitchens. It is really nice, again, to see kitchens under the Great Hall. Makes a lot of sense, you know, cooking under the Great Hall and then bringing it up by a servant stair up to the Great Hall. If I can find that servant stair, that would be great. It is, however, proving elusive. Again, hunt for the stairs. Where are you, stairs? You know, I'm beginning to think they're not in here. I'm beginning to think that actually what you have to do is leave the kitchen, as so, and then head up around these main stairs here, carrying that turkey all the way up these stairs. Someone's going to yell at me. There's going to be servant stairs that I've just missed. And check out these beautiful gardens while I'm carrying this turkey. Check out the beautiful tulips and the little statues that we've got in these squares here. Again, very French, kind of French garden aesthetic there, which is very nice, very much appreciated. Right, so I'm carrying this roast turkey all the way around here, avoid the bees, and into the Great Hall. And let's put that right on the table in front of the Lord. He's going to have the first taste, after the royal food tester, of course. And here we are in this beautiful Great Hall made of mostly wood on the interior. And, you know, we used to not be able to do thick walls with, you know, a different exterior from the interior. But as you saw from the outside, it's all stone on the outside. And we've layered the inside with this beautiful wood. We've got the red and the blue for the ceiling and sort of this jungle wood as well, acting as kind of the structural supports of the building. And I love this carpet. The kind of muted colors in it are great. And I love the kind of the ruffled look it has. Very, very cool. And check out all those banners as well. Not exactly sure what that's about, but we know the Reachmen love their colors, so that's probably something to do with it. Anyway, beautiful Great Hall. Love the windows especially. That Connected Textures mod really shines there, with kind of the different patterns and colors and shapes we can get in our glass panels. Yeah, looks great. We've even got some interior shutters there, at the top of those top windows there. Really, really nice. Anyway, let's head onwards, and looks like we're out on the walls here, by the entrance that we came in. So actually, let's head down here and head into this other building over here. We're going to eventually get up to that bell tower, hopefully. And here we've got some stables. Again, pretty good size. Not as big as I would like for a castle. You know, if they've got a sizable you know, cavalry, as any good noble house would, be more than 4 stables in there. But again, because of scale, you know, we don't want this castle to be massive. It's not Harrenhal, so we've kept it small and scalable. So 4 stables in a castle for us probably equates to, like, you know, I don't know, 50 pens, something like that. Right, so let's have a look through here. We've got some lovely furnished halls, and oh, this really cool grand stair wrapping up around the back of this main building here. Very cool. Again, very French inspiration. And through here we've got different, like, kind of libraries. Oh, this looks like a bedchamber. Very nice bed there. Oh yeah, the colors of House Wythers. Well, their sigil is a squirrel, so it's a grey squirrel, which is what the grey is there, on a field of white with a red border, so it's grey, white, and red. And yeah, I don't know why it's a squirrel. It's kind of an odd thing. I guess we know then that there are squirrels in Westeros, and the Wythers thought they were cool enough to put in their sigils, so that's fine. Right, got a nice mirror built into the wall there, another bedchamber. Very nice. Beautiful little furnishings. We've got a beautiful little treasure chest built into that little alcove there. And really cool candelabra here as well, with that new multiple candles texture, which we usually only see in septs, but does come in handy for some interior decorating every once in a while. Right, so let's see. Any more stairs in here? That looks like the roof up there. I can tell kind of by the arches and the structural supports there under that wooden roof. So let's head back down these beautiful stairs, and oh, let's check out through this window real quick. We've got these back gardens back here. You know, back around as the massive fields around Wythers. We've got the barley and the wheat there, and as well as some fallow fields there. and then just an open expanse behind it. There's this beautiful, geometric, again, French-inspired garden, and, you know, it looks kind of contemporary and out of place based on the other things we've seen, but really we get a lot of information about the fancy kind of gardens we get around Westeros, especially in the Red Keep, especially, you know, the water gardens in Dorne. We don't really get many more gardens than that. You know, the Vale has kind of organized gardens, and the Winterfell has kind of, you know, has glass gardens. So gardening is a big thing. It's one of those things that's translated from the real world aristocracy into the Westeros nobility, and it's nice to see this. We don't really see all this all that often on our server, and I think, you know, SMP took a risk with this, but it's definitely paid off. It looks lovely. Right, so, moving on. Let's see if we can find that rookery. You know, not every castle has a rookery, and that's totally fine. They don't all need rookeries. It's kind of a luxury in a way, and if, you know, if you're a small landed knight or something, you know, you can still communicate by raven without having a rookery. You know, there might just be a raven's cage in a maester's chamber, or no maester at all. It might just be the lords, you know, sending the ravens off. I don't know if that's a maester exclusive ability. That must be fun in the role-playing game. I'm the maester. I have send message power. Oh, great! How fun! That's basically just chatting with other people. But yeah, yeah, very cool. Love this little bell tower here. Very nice. Kind of the main feature of the castle. And just parkouring over this rooftop here. I don't think I'm going to have much luck finding that rookery. Actually, you know, that's the one building over there that we haven't really looked into. Let's see if I can ninja my way around there. Oh, and that one as well. So, you know, there still is quite a lot. Oh, that looks like an open window. That could be useful for... Oh, God. Okay, boink. And where's the soft place to land? How about on those hedges? Okay, that didn't hurt too bad. My ego, anyway, is still intact. Right. Bedchambers, looks like less noble, maybe, you know, guests, might be a guest house or something like that. Could even be the servants, if the servants are treated quite well. This looks like, oh, they are writing, so I don't reckon it is a servant, but, yeah, or a scribe could live here or something like that. Ooh, very nice. Again, very cool, big, open area, kind of a hall with a stair that wraps around the outside. Very nice, very cool. Love the chandelier with the actual chain hanging down there. That's a nice little touch. And what do we got in here? Looks like, ooh, nice big hearth with a nice cozy, comfy couch in front of it. And in this room, we've got, ooh, kind of like a planning meeting area. Hey! Lucky us! We found the rookery. Amazing. Well, great. So it's got a fully fledged, pardon the pun, rookery in here. All the different cages and the little holes for the ravens to stay in. It's got a little writing desk out here, which is what I'm guessing that is for sending those messages, and this kind of library here. It's actually very cool. I quite like this simple design. I hope that other builders take inspiration from this. It's really nice with the hanging cages as well, and we've got these big wide open windows for sending those ravens out to do their duty. Duty. And yeah, I think we've seen everything then. Withers isn't terribly huge, and but it is really beautiful and simple, and it's kind of, hopefully a sign of things to come in the Reach anyway. But yeah, as ever, I highly encourage you to come check it out. It's /warpwithers, and have a look, and hope to see you on the server, and for next week's episode 61.